Hi guys, as usual all the necessary links in the video description and my test system setup for this guy also in the video description. If you think that you've already seen that review, then you are probably right, the file got damaged and I had to redo the whole thing. So I realized some time ago that I went for more and more expensive clones, leaving a lot of interesting cheaper amplifiers behind. And maybe it would be good to look back, because in the lower price range there still can be gems like MFA1 or Marantz hiding. And they will also be way more accessible, providing better entry point for anyone new to the hobby. So today we have here Transaudio NAP 200 clone called N2 with minimalistic design and very small chassis. It's a stereo amplifier capable of outputting 70 watts into 8 ohms per channel. First NAP 200 was designed by Julian Vereker in 1971, but it was produced for many years, getting 5 stars What HiFi review in 2003. And I think it's still available as 5th or 6th incarnation, NAP 200 DR for something like $3,700. Now this guy is nothing like NAP 200 DR. When it comes to the price, this guy is $350 Transaudio amp, and that price included shipping via DHL, so that's like 10 times less. Well, let's talk some numbers first. The official specification comes from the manufacturer. Transaudio does measure their amps using AP audio precision tester, and the numbers are: gain is specified as 28.6 decibels, signal to noise ratio and dynamic range are specified as 114.4 decibels. That's really nice. THD is specified as 0.0014%, and THD plus noise, so the worst scenario, is 0.0075%. Frequency response is specified as plus minus 0.273 decibels at the ends of the spectrum, but interestingly, apparently they forgot to give the bandwidth. So we do not get that here. The output power is 70 watts per channel into 8 ohms load, and the input sensitivity is 700 millivolts, and this is pure power amplifier. So let's talk about the build, external and internal. External, this is a solid block, almost solid block of aluminum. On the front of the amplifier, we are getting green LED status and power on and off rocker. Underneath, we are getting rubber feet, standard simple rubber feet. There's nothing interesting on the sides, no heatsinks, nothing like that, because the whole chassis operates as a heatsink. And in the back, we are getting one set of RCA inputs that are gold-plated, one set of speaker tabs that are also gold-plated. These will accept bananas, and they will accept bell wire in here. And I think they should accept some spades, but the distance between the connectors is really small. If you're going to be getting one of those amplifiers, take notice about the polarity of the speakers. This is not symmetrical. In most of amplifiers, also in most of the clones, we are getting something like negative poles on the inside and positive on the outside, or sometimes placed vertically. In this case, both positive connectors are on the left side and negative on the right side. We also do get a standard IEC connector with integrated fuse compartment over here, and I got the version that's specified for 220 AC volts, that's European version, but this guy is also available in 110 volts. Now let's take a look inside. I had already removed screws from the top. These are basically simple bolts like that. And let's open it up. Yeah. So this is something like 3, I think, millimeters of solid aluminium. So excellent, as always. And inside, this guy is a very simple build. Now I will do my guy with a stick routine. We have one toroidal transformer that's used to power both channels. This guy is, according to the label placed in the front of the transformer, specified as being able to output 200 watts. You won't be able to see that. I am able to see that using a small mirror. The label is directly in front, and I can see a corner specifying 200 watts. It's quite small, but I kind of trust them. Transaudio builds so far were always good quality and truthful to specifications. So here we have a connector for LED. Here we have a power switch with the power line going from here. What else? We have 4 capacitors in the power section. Those guys are rated for 10,000 microfarads, and those are Rubicons. So you are getting 20,000 microfarads per channel. There is one rectifier over here, and basically the build is symmetrical like that. So both channels look exactly the same. They are sharing Omron relay that's controlling the output to the speakers. By the way, we have a very nice OFC, according to the description on the cable, cables running for the speaker tabs. What else? This guy is using 4 sunken transistors. You can see it here on the board. C2922, so 1 pair per channel. And that's basically it. The smaller caps, the golden, black and gold ones, are ELNA capacitors. And I cannot see any kind of MKP caps here. No, sorry about that. Yeah, we do have a couple of V-shapes, 4 of them, the blue ones. And we have 2 pots for controlling the bias, and those guys are protected with drops of paint. Yeah, so it looks very simple inside, and there's a lot of room inside. If you'd like to add something here, if you'd like to replace the transformer with something larger, there is a space for that. You can do that. You can also do some kind of ghetto mode and add additional capacitance for each channel. So all in all, very simple yet very elegant build. Take a notice about the lengths of the wires. Take notice about the mounting wires internally. So it looks really, really clean and really, really nice. Okay, so let's talk about the sound quality. And as usual, let's start with the bass. Bass makes very good first impression. It goes really low, has tons of detail and very good texture. After a while, you may hear that sometimes it could be a little faster, in a few tracks here and there, but only if you know them by heart. Other than that, it's slightly warm, precise, and has ability to fill the room and be foundation for everything else. Really, that's a very nice bass that we have here. Moving on to the mid-range. The first thing you will notice is that mids are very detailed, and this is clearly visible, and actually hearable in vocals. Every nuance, every change of timbre is here. This is one of the very few amplifiers that get very slight roughness of Marianna Lepore's voice in Bizarre Love Triangle cover, right. There is no sibilance, even on tracks bordering on being hot, just clarity and transparency. Treble. Treble is really extended, airy and detailed, like the mid-range. It's also very transparent. There is no sibilance and there is no listening fatigue whatsoever, just clarity and transparency that I love to have in my amplifiers. It's significantly better in mid-range and treble than the other larger NAP clone I reviewed last year. Now, this small black box has amazing amount of detail. Everything is here, all small things in the back, small sounds on the sides. The resolution is amazing, and it shines in choral pieces or classical orchestral tracks. You can hear scratching on the strings. You can hear their vibrations. I don't know how they pull that off, but it's amazing. Now, imaging. Imaging is where you can see it's no Darzil clone or T9.4 monster. It's good, wide, with good center image. There is also depth information, but sound layers are quite close one to each other. It's still better than with most other amplifiers, but previous sections got me hyped and I expected another wow effect here. There is no problem with getting the sound away from the speakers. The imaging is also very precise, and the images have very good locations. It's just that there could be more depth to it. Still, it beats hands down all Rotel and Yamaha amps that I owned in my time. I think reviewing those clones got me seriously spoiled. And this gets us to the summary. NAP series amps are known for its sense of rhythm and tempo, and we have that here too. But to less extent than I remember, my Unity Qt had this quality. But compared to that clone, Unity Qt was just veiled and lacked detail. They weren't even playing on the same level. This guy is excellent or very good across the board, and the price is more like a fairy tale than something real. Now I have a strong feeling that it may go up quickly. So if you are in the market for a small, excellent, and I mean that, amplifier, then do consider this guy. As I've said, the asking price was $370, $350, and I was able to lower that to $260 or something like that with coupons and sale price, but I do expect that they may raise the price. So it may not be the most powerful of the bunch that I had reviewed, but I am really impressed, and by now it's not really easy to get me impressed. Again, I can't stress enough how good it's considering the price, and this one will surely remain in my collection. I will also think about modding it to squeeze even more performance from this little guy. And that's all. Again, all the necessary links in the video description, my test system setup in the video description, and if you'd like to support my channel by getting me a beer, there's also a PayPal link down below, or you can use YouTube super thanks button. That's also somewhere down below. So, thanks for watching, and have a great day with your music, guys. See you next time.